welcome to Actually, let's get out to port just a little bit. Okay, now that we're away from port, welcome to Mr. Bones Wild Ride. As far as opening hand, we're going to keep on this one. Love it. We've got Sunken Hollow Island, got Counterspell, Negate, Mana. Mainly, we've got 2 blue mana and a ton of counter magic. So I'm just going to lead off with Sunken Hollow, then anything else we will pass the turn. Yeah, we needed to wait until the ship got away from port. Before we jump into things, because now you're officially on the boat. So, but yeah, one of the things about Mr. Bones Wild Ride, if you don't know, once you get on, you can never get off. And that's all of you that have clicked on the video, because we left port already. So, a little bit of a downside, a little bit of a bummer. While we still have cell signal, I would maybe suggest contacting your family, letting them know that you're never going to see them again. If they ask why, where you going, just tell them you're on a skeleton ship, headed out into the multiverse, piloted by Mr. Bones himself. So, I don't make the rules. That's just the rules of the road with with Mr. Bones over here. Do we want to go for mana drain? That would be yeah, I think we're okay with that. Yeah, let's go mana drain, because that's at least going to allow us to potentially power out a quick skeleton ship, which sounds pretty. Oh, yes. All right. That was their first mistake. Let's go for skeleton ship. That's going to be 1-2. Thinking that an incubation druid was safe from a a mana drain. That's going to be a pirate ship, skeleton ship coming down, then anything else was past the turn. Let's get this game going, and we'll talk about Mr. Bones Wild Ride here in a second. So we're playing skeleton ship, which we do have an island. Look at that beautiful stormy island right there. Whatever you control, no island, sacrifice skeleton ship. Then for an activation, put a -1 counter on target creature. Playing it Storevv. Trample whenever Storevv deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker. Return to your hand target creature or planeswalker card in your graveyard that wasn't put there this combat. Yes, not this combat. No, not at all. So, all right, we are making the land drop, which is really good. So let's go lead off with Swamp. And at this point, we've got Counterspell and Negate. Yeah, I think I kind of like this. Let's just go ahead and pass the turn. We could try to end up going for Lightning Greaves, but I'd like to see if we can't catch Storevv, potentially with Skeleton Ship. I think that'll be a pretty good option. We did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/Jolt MTG, down at the bottom of the cabin, because you can't leave here, we have set up a TCG pop-up shop. So if you need to use my bit.ly link at the physical shop, and I think we jam a negate on that. Yeah, I think that'll work out. Let's go negate. And then, but yeah, if you want to go up to the pop-up shop down below the ship, we'll probably be there a long time since we're all here forever. You might have some fun doing that. So let's go ahead and go for Lightning Greaves. Yeah, I like that. We're going to go Lightning Greaves, and that's going to allow us to leave up counterspell. So let's put Lightning Greaves on the skeleton ship, and then anything else past the turn. Now, if we are looking at Storevv, we might end up going for counterspell. One of the good things about us having counterspell, we can either hold on to it. If we want to jam the commander real quick, I don't know. We'll see. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play Magic Online, they've got you covered for all the card needs that you may have while you're on Mr. Bones Wild Ride, where you can never leave the ship. And also, let's give a quick shout out to Ink Gaming. Go to inkgaming.com/Jolt. That'll apply my coupon code. That way you can get a nice little playmat for all of eternity. So make sure you pick really nice. And last but not least, that's going to be Creeping Corrosion. I think we're okay with that. That's going to destroy Lightning Greaves. I think we're okay with that. I'd almost kind of rather leave up counterspell. I mean, if they've got spot removal, we can counter it. But yeah, last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support the skeleton ship because you're here forever, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home on the bottom of the ship, it is officially free time. Let's have some, man, I'm having a lot of fun with this. All right, so let's go ponder. Yeah, skeleton ship. I love this. This is I don't know, it's just a ton of fun to play. All right, so we do have Diminish. And I'm not super wild. Let's put these on in any order. Shuffle our library, and then we draw into Command Tower. All right, so that's at least going to allow us to end up going for Obnixilis. We still want to hold up Counterspell at this point. So let's just go and pass the turn over to our opponent. See what they've got cooking in the kitchen. But yeah, as far as Mr. Bones Wild Ride, what are we doing with this deck? This is kind of a Dimir Super Friends control deck. And I think at this point, they've already at 6 lands, so I think we're okay with the Kodama's reach, so we'll let them go on, let that go on through. But yeah, this is kind of Dimir control. We've got a lot of Planeswalkers in here. We have a lot of artifacts. You can see we have a Torment of Hellfire, so that if we get to the late game, we just have access to a ton of mana and nothing to do. We can get the fireworks going on the skeleton ship. And but yeah, the skeleton ship. So if you're new to the channel, I've been doing my channel probably about, I think, 4 years now. And I think we jammed this. Let's go for counter magic. And then that works out perfectly to where we can go for Ob Nixilis the next turn. So that's going to be Storevv back in the command zone. But yeah, so I think I've been doing it for 4 years now. That sounds about right. So let's go Ob Nixilis, and we'll talk about Mr. Bones Wild Ride here in just a second. So let's get Ob Nixilis down. Let's go for the +1. We're going to cash in a card draw. Turn to Frog. Love it. Anything else past the turn to our opponent. But yeah, with Skeleton Ship, you know, Halloween came up, and that was kind of the first time I was getting into deck building and stuff, and I wanted to build a Halloween deck. And, you know, there's vampires, there's zombies, there's tons of, you know, lore, horror that you can go for within Magic. Haste countered hexproof. I don't think, no, that wasn't kick, but that is that's a 6/6 right there, partner. Do we want to... We can still save Ob Nixilis by putting a -1 counter on target creature. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go Skeleton Ship. Let's put a -1 counter on... oh, no, excuse me. Does it have... Oh, it has hexproof. Never mind. So we can't do that. So do we want to lose Ob Nixilis for Skeleton Ship? It's got hexproof and... Yeah, I think we end up taking Skeleton Ship block on this. We need a source of card draw. Yes, return skeleton. It's always here. It's always going to go back to the command zone and get that bot back up. But yeah, I was looking for Halloween decks to build, and I came across Skeleton Ship, and it was just... I don't know. It just it blew my mind. It was crazy. Let's go for the +1. Yeah, that's going to be good because that'll at least keep Ob Nixilis on our side of the battlefield. Let's go for Soul Ring first. There we go. Let's make the land drop. That's going to be Catacombs. Let's go for Nest of Scarabs. 1, 2. And then anything else. No, I think that's it. We're going to go and pass the turn. So we'll try to end up going for Skeleton Ship next turn. We can get that down. One of the things about Skeleton Ship is the way this deck is constructed. This is a... Our commander's kind of more of a win more commander. I did try to go full throttle -1 counters in the very beginning with Skeleton Ship, and let me tell you, that's a sight to see. It's a little rough, so I opted to kind of build a little bit more of a good stuff deck and then use Skeleton Ship as a finisher. And one of the main finishers that we are looking for, and that's going to be both. Do we need to turn? Yeah, because even if we go to turn to Frog, yeah, that's going to do anything. So we're going to lose Ob Nixilis, unfortunately. But now that we do have Nest of Scarabs, we might be able to get Skeleton Ship down and hopefully get a few little tokens on the battlefield. That might kind of work out. We'll see what our opponent's about to get down. Desecration Demon. Okay, let's look at a mix of my first standard deck and Sultai Vengevine in Modern. So let's see what we draw into. Go for the throw. That's actually pretty good. So we're going to be able to get rid of... So let's do it like this. Let's go Skeleton Ship. That's going to be 1, 2. And what will probably end up happening is we'll probably take this hit next turn. That's going to be 16, which is a pretty good chunk of damage. We might end up going for Go for the Throat on Desecration. No, we're not going to sacrifice a creature. Get out of here, Desecration Demon. We're going to probably end up going for Go for the Throat on Desecration Demon. And in fact, while that's happening, let's just go and crack Catacombs. I know we kind of want to leave that uncracked, but just in case our opponent has some sort of response, I just want to have the mana available. So there we go. All right, we're going to pass it to our opponent's turn and see what is in store for us. But yeah, I went full throttle counters on Skeleton Ship. My first couple goes with it, and I don't know, it's just kind of rough. Rough seas on Mr. Bones' Wild Ride. And so, yeah, we're not going to sacrifice a creature. No, we're good. Let's see if we're going to get the whole crew swinging in, because we can manage a 10 hit, but it feels really good. You know, I only played this deck once a year. In fact, the last time I played it was last Halloween. And so, I'm sure there was some updates I needed to do to it, but since it's kind of the core of it, it's just kind of a good stuff deck, we were still having some fun. So here we are. All right, opponent's going to swing it for 10. That's going to knock us down to 17. Now, we do have the one-hit combo, the Splinter Twin combo of Skeleton Ship. That is turn to Frog and putting a -1 counter on a creature. So we will have access to that next turn. So let's see. See what's in store for us. See what we draw into. That's going to be very important. Jace the Mind Sculptor. And that still keeps us open on turn to Frog. Okay, so let's go Jace. That's going to be 1-2. Now, if they do end up going for Baloth, yeah, it has hexproof, so we can't send it back. Let's go for the Brainstorm ability at this point. We're going to draw 3 cards. Knight's Whisper, Phyrexian Metamorph. I actually kind of do like this. So let's put Torment of Hellfire back on top, and then let's go and put Knight's Whisper back on top. Let's make the lane drop that's going to be Island. And what we can do is still end up going for Phyrexian Metamorph. I don't think we need to pay that 3. Yeah, because we're just leaving up turn to Frog. So let's go Phyrexian Metamorph. And what we're going to do on this is we just want to have a big threat out there that's going to stop Storevv. So we're going to have Phyrexian Metamorph enter the battlefield. Have it enter the battlefield as Baloth, and then anything else. We're going to pass the turn. So we're going to be able to at least trade with the Baloth if we want to. We can also go for the turn to Frog activation on Storevv. So let's see what kind of fun we can get into. But this is exactly where the deck wants to be. You know, if you can draw into some sort of value threat, like Jace the Mind Sculptor, and you can kind of stabilize just a little bit, because it makes, you know, if you try to rush out Skeleton Ship really quick, 5 mana, you have no protection, something happens to it, and then you're almost never going to get it down again because it's, I don't know, it's just a fun card to play with. I'll leave it at that. It's nothing cutthroat. So once you do get to the late game and you do have access to a ton of mana, being able to, you know, just get some really cool value plays like Skeleton Ship and Turn to Frog, always a lot of fun. Now, we do have some good, outside of Planeswalker, each player loses X life, discards X cards, sacks X creatures. So let's do this. So in response to this Death Cloud, we're going to go for Turn to Frog on Storevv, because we want our opponent to sacrifice the Baloth. I think that'll be good. So let's go for Turn to Frog. We're going to turn Storevv into a frog. And then we're going to go for the Splinter Twin combo. Let's see if this is going to resolve. See if they have any sort of spot removal or something. It's going to be Turn to Frog. So now that we have officially turned Storevv into a frog, let's go for the -1 counter on Storevv. There we go. Look at that. And then that still should give us an insect token. Oh, look at that value. Just took turn 10 to get it going. Let's get a 1/1 insect on the battlefield. And I think at this point, we're still going to end up with a 6/6. Do we want to leave Skeleton Ship up? All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. Our opponent's seen enough. I'm going to consider this a W. We haven't won the game yet, but we've got an active Jace the Mind Sculptor. And huge props to our opponent for not scooping when we went Mana Drain, Negate, and Counter Spell. So we got to talk about the Skeleton Ship, Mr. Bones Wild Ride, and this was a pretty good showing. You know, you want to get to the late game, get down Skeleton Ship, turn something into a frog, and then grind the game out with some value. So it's not a clean W, but our opponent has had enough. They went off Mr. Bones Wild Ride, but they don't understand. You can't get off Mr. Bones Wild Ride. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye. Welcome to Mr. Bones Wild Ride. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got... Ooh, do we want to keep on this? Yeah, I think we do. Yeah, we can make this work. All right, we're going to keep on this one. I thought about shipping it back to have some sort of card advantage. I always like to have some sort of way to kind of keep our hand fresh. But if we hit the 3rd land drop and we get down Worn Power Stone, we've got 2 awesome Planeswalkers to go for. It's going to be Tezzeret and Omnixilis. Both of those are going to generate some really nice value over the course of a game. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the Magic Gods treat us well and give us an extra land. Oh, hey. There we go. Opponent said, hey there, in the chat. So I was saying, hey, howdy to you too, partner. So let's see what we draw into for the turn. Land would be absolutely beautiful here on Mr. Bones Wild Ride. Oh, yes, I'll take that. All right, so it's going to lead off with Sunken Hollow, and then anything else, we're going to pass the turn. We're playing Mr. Bones Wild Ride. Skeleton Ship. Whenever you control no islands, sacrifice Skeleton Ship. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We're already up to a good start. Tap, put a -1 counter on target creature. Playing against Vorosh the Hunter. Flying, whenever Vorosh the Hunter deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 3 mana. If you do, put 6 +1 counters on Vorosh. So we've got a Sultai versus Dimir Skeleton Ship matchup. This is what Commander's about right here. So if you have your scorecards, make sure you get them out. Hopefully this will be a good game. But yes, welcome to Mr. Bones Wild Ride. This is my premier Halloween deck. I love it. It's a lot of fun. And we'll talk about the actual ride process here in just a second. So let's go Urborg. Then we go Talisman. I kind of like, we just really want to ramp out. That's really going to help us kind of power out Tezzeret, Morn Power Stone, and then we have Crux of Fate as a backup. Now, we do need to keep in mind that Vorosh is a dragon, and so we need to make sure we choose the correct mode of, depending on whatever we need to go for. But yeah, with Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, I hate to inform you, but now that we've left port, there's no getting off Mr. Bones' Wild Ride. You're on the ship forever. So while we still have access to cell phone coverage, I would maybe suggest calling your family, your work. It's not really going to matter. You're not going to go back to work. But at least maybe, just let them know, give them a heads up. Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, it's forever. That's just how it is. He enjoys it that way. And we enjoy it too here on the ship. It's a lot of fun. Let's lead off with Bloodstained Mire. That's going to be Worn Power Stone entering the battlefield tab. Do we need to leave up Negate? No, I think our opponent missed a land drop, so let's just ramp out as quickly as possible with mana. I think that's going to be a pretty good option. Now, we do have Urborg on the battlefield, so we don't have to crack Bloodstained Mire yet. Just in case we get into a scenario where we need to shuffle some cards up, be good to kind of leave that. But if we do need access to double blue, which we do for Tezzeret, we'll end up cracking it sometime soon. But yes, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you'd like to go down below and check out the TCG pop-up shop, I mean, it's not a pop-up shop, it's going to be here forever because we're on the boat. Anyway, it's downstairs. If you use bit.ly/Jolt MTG, there's no internet on Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, but if you at least tell that to the shopkeep, he'll be able to get you help you support the channel. Also, let's God, man, and I haven't even been recording that long. Also, let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play Magic Online, they're your #1 source for cards. So give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com if you want to check out some of my Mad Playmat series. And last but not least, if you're still keeping score at home, I started a Patreon. In fact, there's a link down in the description below if you want to directly support cool content like this. But if you're keeping score, it's officially free time. Let's have some fun. So we do have Crux of Fate on a one-sided board. Man, I kind of like that because we're going to be able to shut off card draw with Graveborn Muse. We're going to get rid of an extra. I mean, they have Gilded Lotus out there, so it's not the best play to get rid of a mana dork, but I almost kind of want to get rid of this this card draw from our opponent. So let's go for Crux. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. We're going to destroy all non-dragon creatures because we don't want to goof this one up. There we go. Let's tap down for black, and tap down Talisman. Yeah, and that's going to be perfect. We can actually... We're going to shock in Watery Grave, yes, and that's going to leave us open on the gate. So anything else will pass the turn. So that way, if they do end up going for like a Planeswalker or something, we'll at least have some sort of answer. And then now that we've done a little bit of board control, we can go for Tezzeret. We are one artifact away from getting that 0 ability, drawing 2 cards, and that's always, that's a ton of fun in Commander. You get the 0 ability going with Tezzeret. Some good magic right there. Now, our opponent follows up with a, we could have gone for Negate. I had auto yield up. Sorry about that. Oh, that's a bummer. A little bit of a misplay on my part, but I think we can bounce back from that. So let's lead off with Catacombs. Yeah, and I think at this point, we go Tezzeret. That's going to be double blue. It's going to be 1/2. And tap down Urborg. Yeah, I like this. Let's go ahead and make a 1/1 creature with Tezzeret. That way we can start to cash in some of that card draw. So let's go for Tezzeret. Yeah, that definitely would have been a better play to go for Negate on Phyrexian Arena if we're trying to stop card draw from our opponent. When I do commentary, sometimes I put auto yield on, and then I jump into commentary, so I'll goof that one up a little bit. But if they've got some sort of counter magic, yeah, Thirst for Knowledge, yeah, that's okay. I'm about to say, still holding on to Negate is not the end of the world. So we will get around that misplay. So let's get Tezzeret on the battlefield. Let's get that artifact going. That way we'll be in a good spot to go for Metalcraft next turn. And then we do have Nest of Scarabs too. So if we get Nest of Scarabs down, that's really going to help us kind of pump out some of these tokens once we get down Skeleton Ship. So opponent's going to get the Phyrexian Arena trigger going, then cash in a card draw, lose a life. But yeah, once we go for Tezzeret, we have 3 artifacts. That's going to be 2 card draw. We'll probably, instead of going for Skeleton Ship, because our opponent doesn't have any creatures out there at this point, probably end up going for Obnixilis, and that's going to allow us to really kind of ramp up that card draw. I mean, just imagine... drawing 3 cards per turn. We got an Ancestral Recall or Vision with Tezzeret and Obnixilis, 10 mana of Planeswalkers. That's a pretty good feeling. So All right, an opponent's that's going to be Recurring Nightmare on the battlefield. Now, with Recurring Nightmare, this is not banned in 1v1 Commander, so that is just something to keep in mind. It is unbanned. Don't really know why, but it is there. Let's go for the 0 ability off of Tezzeret. Let's draw 2 cards. That's going to be, Brainstorm and Disallow. Okay, so if we end up going for Tezzeret, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to put us on Disallow. Yeah, I still like that. So let's go and crack Catacombs. Let's grab ourselves Underground Sea. Let's go for Obnixilis. And that way we can still leave up 1 fetch land for Brainstorm. So let's go for Obnixilis. If they have counter magic, so be it. We might let this go through. I mean, I feel like we'd rather disallow on their actual commander itself. So it's going to be Forbidden Alchemy, okay? And then it looks like Obnixilis is going to stick, which is going to be a pretty good feeling. So let's go for the +1 ability. Draw a card and lose a life. And this is exactly where the skeleton ship wants to be Mr. Bones' Wild Ride. Ooh, we draw into Aetherling. And I'll kind of explain why Aetherling is in here in just a second. So let's go and swing in for 1. So knock our opponent down to 24. And then anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. So we have a universal counterspell in Disallow. If they get Reoccurring Nightmare going, we can actually counter the actual trigger itself. So that's going to stop the Recurring Nightmare. So we can get different things going. But yes, with Aetherling. Aetherling is in here because it is my favorite card from when I got into Standard. I cracked an Aetherling at the Dragon's Maze pre-release. And I was new to Magic. I had no idea. I had all these activations on there. Did not understand the card, but I remember thinking just like, man, this is a cool card. So I wanted to put like a creature finisher in Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, and Rampaging Balos, yes, that will get a disallow for sure. So we'll see if they have counter magic. We haven't really seen anything. They've just been going for graveyard advantage. So hopefully that sticks, and it looks like it does. So that's going to get rid of Rampaging Balos. And the only thing we really need to watch out for is Recurring Nightmare. This can be some pretty good value out of the graveyard. But at least with Obnixilis, we're going to be able to control the board a little bit. But we'll talk about Aetherling in just a second. So we draw into Command Tower. Let's go for the 0 ability. Draw 2 cards. Oh, yes. This is exactly what we want to see. That's going to be Snuff Out, Limdol's Vault. Let's go for the... Actually, let's do this. Let's go Brainstorm. Just want to dig as deep this turn as we can. So it's going to be Mana Drain. Okay. Let's go and put the Island on top. Let's put Temple of Deceit on top. Let's go and crack Bloodstained Mire. Let's go and grab ourselves Fetid Pools. Going to enter the battlefield tapped. Yeah, we'll just go and grab another Swamp. I think we're okay with that. Let's go for the 0 ability. Excuse me, the +1. We're going to draw a card. Let's make the land drop for the turn. That's going to be Command Tower. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 total mana. Yeah, I think at this point, yeah, that's going to be Skeleton Ship. Yeah, I kind of like that. So let's do that. Let's go Skeleton Ship because that's still going to keep us open on Mana Drain. Yeah, I like that. So it's going to be blue and then tap down for 1 off of Talisman. Let's get that closed out. And then anything else, we'll go and swing in for 1 with our Thopter token. That'll be good. And then we'll see what's in store for us from our opponent. So let's go and swing across for 1, knock him down to 22, and then we will pass the turn. Yeah, as far as Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, this is definitely a... Where am I trying to go with this? Let's go ahead and get rid of... We definitely want to hold on to Snuff Out because we definitely control a Swamp. I think at this point, we will get rid of... Ponder. We have some really good card advantage, so that's going to work out. But yeah, Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, it's my Halloween deck, and when I originally built it, I went really heavy on the -1 counter theme, and, you know, it is fun, but you need the certain matchup to make sure that it does work. Now, with this build, I've kind of transitioned it into a just more of a cutthroat Dimir control style deck. Where we're at now, where we have 2 Planeswalkers on the battlefield, we have more than enough mana, this is the perfect time to get down Skeleton Ship. It's kind of one of those commanders that's a little bit more of a win more commander, or just something we just kind of get to piddle with. So it's going to be Forbidden Alchemy. Yeah, sure, go for it. But yeah, you know, once you get to this point, once your board state is established, you've established your card draw, you've established some sort of control in the board state, you've gone for a board wipe or something like that, being able to get these down, it really makes it easy to pay 5 mana for a Skeleton Ship. that puts -1 counters on another creature, and then you need something else on the battlefield to get the full value from it. So, but yeah, it's also a ton of fun. One of the cool things here on Mr. Bones Wild Ride is once we get Necroskitter out there, we start putting those -1 counters on our creature, our opponent's creatures. If our opponent's creatures die with a -1 counter on it, Necroskitter brings it back to our side of the battlefield. So there's sometimes where you just end up with this just absolute insanity of just creating this loop of skeleton ship, just getting the waves chopping. Just chopping the waves, mowing down your opponent's creatures. It's a very good feeling. So, all right, so it looks like our opponent's going to simply pass the turn with black mana. So let's get a little aggressive with this Lim-Dûl's Vault. I think that's going to be pretty good. So let's go on. Helps if we tap down for black. There we go. Tap down Herb Orb. Let's go for Lim-Dûl's Vault. And Hostage Taker, Disdainful Stroke. Yes, we're going to pay life. Put those on the bottom in any order. Free from the real. I mean, we can go for the -1 count. I just don't really... Kind of looking for like a finisher. I feel like Jace just kind of... There we go. Torment of Hellfire. Yes, this is pretty much what we want to see. So we're not going to pay that. Let's go ahead and put... At this point, we'll put Pull from Tomorrow on top. We'll put Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, Time Twister, and then Torment of Hellfire on top. So there we go. We need to find some sort of spell win condition. I think that's one of the main things that we're looking for. So let's go for the 0 ability. We're going to draw 2 of those cards, which should be our 2 fetch lanes, I think. One of them is Time Twister. And the other card is going to be Pull from Tomorrow. Yeah, I think we can wait on that. So let's go ahead and crack Polluted Delta. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a island. And let's go for the +1 ability. We're going to draw another card. And we still have access to Time Twister, but I think at this point, kind of like going Aetherling Beat Sticks. Yeah, let's do that. So it's going to be blue. Okay, so we're going to go for Aetherling, and one of the good things about Aetherling is we do have 4 mana right now, and what that's going to allow us to do is have some sort of threat against our opponent. We're going to be able to hopefully get in for 8 damage next turn, and that's going to make this Torment of Hellfire just a little bit better. So let's go and swing it for 1 with that Thopter token, knock him down to 20, and then anything else. No, we're going to go and pass the turn. So I think at this point, we'll just go ahead and drop Underground River. No, that'll be an extra mana for Torment of Hellfire. Snuff out. Yeah, we'll go get rid of Nest of Scarabs. I feel like we're in a pretty good position right now. So now with us having access to double blue, that's going to give us the option to where if our opponent does have spot removal, that's going to allow us to make sure that Aetherling flickers and then comes back to the battlefield. So essentially, we're going to be able to keep Aetherling on the battlefield. If you've never played with Aetherling or played against Aetherling, once you resolve an Aetherling as a player and you have access to blue mana, it is very, very difficult to deal with. But that's what makes it fun for the control player. But for the other people out there, you just, as long as you keep blue mana open, you're in a pretty good spot. So now that will allow us to, if we want to trade with the Thopter token, we can. But I think at this point, we swing in for 8. That's going to put them down to 11. We go for a Torment of Hellfire for a bunch. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we take down 1, 9. That'll be Torment for 7 times 3. That'll be 21. Yeah, I mean, Torment will get it pretty close. We might end up just waiting just a little bit longer on Torment of Hellfire to go for that, because I think that'll, if they want to sack the permanents, because that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll have a lot of cards to get rid of. They are playing Reanimator, and so... yeah, because if we hit like a Living Death or something from our opponent, that would not be that good. Okay, so our opponent's going to go for Pernicious Deed. Yeah, we need that to not happen. So let's go for Negate. Yeah, that doesn't sound that fun. So let's go for Negate. That's going to get rid of that. That still keeps us open on Mana Drain. And so that's going to allow us to still kind of stop anything else that they're going to end up going for. If we Mana Drain something this turn, if they're tapping, it's going to be Snapcaster. Okay, so it's going to be Snapcaster. Let's see what they end up going for off of Snapcaster. I guess if they end up going, that's going to be Compulsive Research. Yeah, we might end up going, this may seem a little bit of cutthroat to our opponent, but we might end up going Mana Drain on Compulsive Research, because that's going to give us access to 3 extra mana. And that might make the difference between Aetherling swinging in and not. So I think we want that to happen. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go mana drain. So we're going to counter that spell. That's going to give us access to 3 extra mana and really make this Torment of Hellfire a lot harder for our opponent to escape soundly. If anything, they're going to be so down on resources and stuff to sacrifice that we should be able to grab it. Now, with us going for that mana drain, that did leave Aetherling shields down, but hey, we've got some fun, so we're going to be able to make it work. Let's see. So we've got Obnixilis for -3, destroy target creature. We do want to make Aetherling unblockable. Okay, so that was a recurring nightmare. Let's go for Snuff Out on Rampaging Baloth. Yeah, there we do. So let's go Snuff Out on Rampaging Baloth. And it's going to go to their end step, and let's go for a Skeleton Ship activation on Baleful Strix. There we go. All right, so it's going to clear the entire board up. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see what we draw into. That's going to be Liliana, and that's going to be Mana Drain. So we're going to add 3 mana to our mana pool. And just so we see how our opponent plays this out, let's go for the 0 ability. We're going to draw a couple more cards. And then let's make the +1 on Omnixilis, because next turn we can go for the -8 if we need to keep it around for some reason. That'll still keep that card draw going. So let's make the land drop. That's going to be Island. And then let's go for Torment of Hellfire. There we go. X is going to be 12. So let's go Torment of Hellfire for 12. And I just now realized we could have sequenced this just a little bit differently. Omnixilis, if we go for the -8, we would have got that card draw emblem. Then we go for Tezzeret. And then that would have allowed us to get an extra 4 damage to our opponent. And that would have closed it out. Not closed it out, but it would have chipped away at their life total. So a little bit of a sequencing error on my part. I'll be perfectly honest. I never get Omnixilis anywhere close to ultimate. And so I just don't keep that -8 in the front of my head. So, but I will now. So, hey, good game to our opponent. Opponent said Tezzeret is quite nice. Tezzeret is a beautiful Planeswalker card in any sort of commander deck that has at least some sort of artifacts floating around. It's a lot of fun. But anyways, we got a W for Mr. Bones Wild Ride. In fact, if you enjoyed your time here on Mr. Bones Wild Ride, hey, stick around because you're here forever. So anyway, happy Halloween. All right, bye.